Hey guys, the Casual Cutter here, and today's video has been a long time in the making. I thought for a while that I wasn't going to do it, and then I figured since I've been getting a pretty steady flow of DMs over on Facebook and Instagram, that it was worth putting together. So grab a piece of paper and a pen, maybe jot down a few things I'm about to share, because today's video is all about buying knives on the secondary market. Okay, so as you can see, I got 3 knives here. All 3 of these knives were purchased by me secondhand, and actually all 3 knives were purchased in different places. So the first part of this video is going to be about where to find good quality secondhand knives. Before I get into that though, I do want to make one note, and that is that secondhand does not necessarily mean that these knives are used. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times knife enthusiasts, knife collectors, knife users, knife buyers, we have to kind of go into buying new knives blindly based on only what we can see online. To actually get these things in the hand and get a feel for them and see how they, how they operate and how they feel and how they carry, we have to just basically take a leap of faith and go out and buy one online. When we get the knife in though, I know for me anyway, a lot of the times it's not everything I thought it would be, or it's just not for me. And many of those knives end up back online for sale on the secondary market. All 3 of these knives, like I said, were bought pre-owned, on different platforms. But these 2 here were advertised as like new in box. And that's something you're going to see a lot because people get a knife in and immediately know whether they want to keep it or not. So like new in box is basically, from what I've seen, a knife that comes in, the customer takes it out of the package, flips it open, plays around with it maybe for a little while, decides it's not for them, doesn't carry it, doesn't use it to cut anything. It just goes right back in the box, and it's essentially a brand new knife. So you're going to see that a lot out there. And for the most part, I think the majority of knives that I've seen lately are pretty much like new or lightly carried. But at the end of the day, especially if you're looking at a more expensive knife like this Arius, I don't know about you, but if I can save a substantial amount and the knife is in really excellent shape, I'm cool with that. So don't necessarily think that these knives on the secondhand market are going to be beat up, users, because typically the descriptions will state whether it's a user or whether it's in excellent condition. So keep that in mind. So now let's actually get into 5 places that I like to shop specifically for these secondhand knives. All right, so here's the list of places that I like to browse and look for my knives. And it's in no particular order, but we'll start off with number 1, which is Facebook. Now, Facebook has specialty groups, specifically groups for knives. And one group in particular is called Knife Trading Sales and Feedback. It's a pretty big community. I think there's about 30,000 members. Of course, not all of those members are active, but it's a great resource. If you don't have Facebook, well, you might want to consider setting up a profile and only using it for the groups. I know for me personally, that's what I do. I'm only on Facebook for knife groups. I follow about a dozen or so, and that's the only thing I'm on there for. I could care less about anything else. It's not my cup of tea. So you basically go on Facebook, use the search bar. That's a very important key element to looking for knives. Use the search bar, find knife groups, get into said knife groups, and get to work. Start looking around, see what you can find. Second place I like to look is Instagram. Instagram's even easier because all you do is you go up to the search bar and you type in knife sale. And all these pictures will pop up, and you go through them and see if there's anything you like. That's not rocket science. That's pretty much all you do over on Instagram. Third place is going to be Reddit. Now, Reddit I never heard of before this year, but I heard there was a really good knife community on there. So I downloaded the app onto my smartphone. I took 2 minutes to set up a username and password, and I hit the ground running. So sure enough, Reddit has a big knife community. They have knife subgroups just like Facebook, and it's a really good place to look. So definitely check that out. Fourth place is going to be eBay. Yes, eBay. I know it's not something I think of these days as the best place to go, but it's a well-known resource. It's easy to list things there, so it's worth looking into. Key thing about eBay, and actually eBay is where I bought this Koenig Arius. Obligatory flip open and drop shot. Okay, so I found this Arius on eBay, and you need to note that eBay isn't just about auctions. I mean, even if an item is listed for auction, you don't necessarily need to even bid on it. What you need to know is you can reach out to the seller via private message and ask them questions and work out a deal from there. You don't have to place bids and watch your bids and get outbid and worry about all that crap. Just reach out to the seller, start a conversation, ask them what they're willing to take for it, or make them an offer in the private messages. Because these people want to sell their stuff. And if it's a 7-day auction and it's 1 day in, you might have a good shot at working something out before anybody else does. So keep that in mind. eBay, not just about auctions, but it's a great resource, fantastic resource. So keep that in mind. And last but not least, there's a place called bladeforums.com. It's a forum for blades, knife group, knife forum, whatever you want to call it. But the big thing about Blade Forums is they have over 300,000 members. It's a huge community. It's a huge resource. They have a ridiculous classified section. They also have a section in the forum that's for in search of. So you can go, I'm looking for a Boker F3, in search of a Boker F3, which is exactly how I found this knife. I went on there, I drew up a little post saying in search of Boker F3, and within probably 15 minutes I got a reply. So super fast response times over on Blade Forums just based on how many people are online. So this was purchased on Blade Forums, and I got a DM, started emailing back and forth with the seller, asked him some questions about the knife, asked for additional pictures actually, and we were able to work out a deal that was mutually beneficial, and got it for a pretty good price. So bladeforums.com, I would say, is the #1 resource in terms of just sheer volume of knives coming and going through that website. So definitely check them out. Now, it's free to join Blade Forums. It's free to shop the classifieds that are posted there. The only thing is selling on Blade Forums requires a gold membership, which is like $30 a year. And that's only if you want to sell there. I think that's cool because if you sell more than a couple knives a year, you want to sell them quick and you want to get the most exposure you can, that's going to be the place to do it. So $30 in the general scheme of things, if you're selling 3 knives, that's $10 a knife it costs you to sell, but you're going to get more than if it was listed on Facebook or Instagram. You know, potentially it could be a really good investment. And then obviously the more knives you sell, the more it pays off. So definitely take a look at bladeforums.com. If I had to pick one of the best places to buy and sell, that's probably going to be it. Facebook's probably a close second. Facebook and Reddit maybe are a tie. Who knows? But the point is, guys, that you want to use all of these resources together to help you in your, buying excursion. Again, this Boker, I got on Blade Forums. This Koenig Arius, I got a phone call. This Koenig Arius I got on eBay, and this Giant Mouse Ace Biblio I got on Facebook. So all three knives, great shape, great experience, great deals, and no complaints. So that's where you find these guys. Now, the next point in this presentation is when should you look for these knives? And that's short and to the point. Only start looking for knives on the secondary market when you have the cash. You do not want to start looking for knives if you don't have the amount of money you need to purchase them. It's not like shopping for new knives where you can go on Blade HQ or Knife Center or what have you and kind of peruse these knives and then go, oh, well, you know what, in 2 weeks when I get that check, I'm going to go and buy it. That's not how it works, because on the secondary market, that knife is there right now, and when it sells, it's not there anymore. So don't torture yourself by going and finding a knife you really want if you don't have the ability to jump on it and pick it up. So that's pretty much that point right there in a nutshell. Don't even start looking unless you're ready to buy. And the third point, last but not least, is when do you actually make an offer? So for me personally, because this is a first-hand account of my experience, I've noticed that if a knife is sitting for, 4, 5, 6 days, that's usually a good time to reach out to the seller and kind of see if you can work out a deal to get that thing moving. I know for me, when I sell knives, I want them to go in the first day or two, or else I know I'm going to have to start eventually lowering the price to get them out of there. So, yeah, I mean, you can look at the timestamps on Facebook, on Instagram, on Reddit, and on Blade Forums, and you can see when these knives were listed. So keep an eye on that little bit of information. Let's see, what else? We went over where to buy these. We went over when to look, when to make an offer. Okay, so, I mean, in short, there's really no drawbacks for shopping for a knife on the secondary market. You're going to get a knife for a much better deal, typically, than if you bought it brand new from a retailer or distributor or what have you. I'll tell you right off the bat, this Arius is a relatively hard knife to find. I mean, you can find dealers that have them. As of right now, today, which is the 7th of December, you can't get them directly from Koenig anymore. You got to go through a dealer or secondhand. And this knife, with the options it has, satin blade and what have you, goes for about $600, give or take, $550, $600 from what I've seen through dealers. And I got this knife for $385. So the vigilance of looking at all these different forums kind of pays off. When I bought this Biblio, it was back when the canvas micarta was impossible to find. Nobody had it. Knife went for $175 new from Giant Mouse. And I found this in a Facebook group, like new in box, for $160 shipped. I wanted the knife really bad. You couldn't get it. So I jumped on it, and it was a good deal. I mean, I would have paid $175 for it, to tell you the truth. And you got to realize, too, that a secondhand seller is taking a hit because they're paying for the shipping. So this knife, for instance, was $175 shipped when they were available new through Giant Mouse. He was selling to me for $160, but in reality, he was only getting $150, let's say, because he still had to ship the knife. So keep that in mind, too, that prices online, you should take into account shipping, insurance, PayPal fees, any of those things. So these are the three knives. That's where I bought them. that's when you should start looking. And those are some of the things you should know about buying on the secondary market. If you guys have any questions or feedback for me on anything you saw in this video, as always, leave a comment below, reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook, and I'd be happy to talk about any of my personal experiences and any tips I can share with you beyond what we went over in this video. So yeah, thanks for watching today, guys. I hope it was at least a little bit informative, and be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to help me grow this YouTube channel so I can add more content, make better videos, and show you cooler stuff, I guess. Anyway, Casual Cutter out. I'll catch you on the next one.